What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is discussing how to reduce your input delay and overall lag in Fortnite Chapter 3. This video is going to include some of the easiest yet most effective ways that you can use to instantly improve your input delay and hopefully see less stutters, less FPS drops, and other issues in your gameplay. Before we get into it though, be sure to drop a like on the video if it helps you out, and consider subscribing as well if you're new to my channel and want to see more content just like this in the future. And before we hop into today's video, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, which is Raid Shadow Legends. If you somehow still haven't heard of Raid Shadow Legends, let me run you through it. Raid is a super unique game that's available for iOS, PC, and Android. With over 600 champions to collect, a unique and interesting campaign, massive PvE boss battles, and a global PvP system where you can go against people all across the world and so much more, Raid is absolutely one of the most revolutionary games of this time. Let's talk about one of my personal favorite bosses in Raid Shadow Legends, which is Guardian of the Void Keep, Malik Kavar. The main trick to fighting Malik is dealing with all the poison that he puts out. It's a lot, and he has an ability that deals all the poison damage that you can possibly take all at once, which can nuke your entire team if you're not careful. His poison debuffs can't be blocked or resisted either, so you're going to need shield buffs and healing to counteract the damage, or just the ability to remove the debuffs directly and often. Raid also features tons of different updates. This month in Raid, there's a fresh rotation of the Brutal Hydra boss, tournaments every single day, and even some special Valentine's Day events where you can get your hands on a brand new legendary champion. And on top of all this awesome stuff, Raid's been kind enough to offer an exclusive offer to viewers of my channel. If you scan the QR code on screen or head to the link near the top of the description and download Raid Shadow Legends, you're going to receive an awesome set of bonuses including a free epic champion Ina, 200,000 silver, an energy refill, an XP boost, and an ancient shard, and that's all going to help you get off to a fantastic start. Once you're in the game, all the rewards I mentioned can be found at the area that you can see on screen right now. So whether you'd like a new game to absolutely grind or a fun little pastime when you have some time to kill, Raid has got you covered. Simply scan the QR code on screen or head to the link in the description to get started. Thank you, Raid Shadow Legends, once again for sponsoring today's video. So getting into our methods to fix input delay and lag in Fortnite, and we're going to be starting it off with one of my personal top methods, which is performance mode. Now obviously this method only works for PC at the moment since there's no performance mode on console or mobile, but I'm being honest when I tell you guys that performance mode is the absolute best way to improve your FPS, stop lagging, and have your game just run so much smoother in Chapter 3. This is especially the case if you can turn on low meshes. Although low meshes, aka mobile builds, aren't the most appealing to the eye, they do help your FPS an insane amount, and I literally noticed instant improvement in not only my actual performance but my gameplay when I turned it on. Honestly, my builds and edits were just so much cleaner and everything just felt better in game. If you don't know yet, all you've got to do to turn on performance mode is head into your settings, find the rendering mode setting, and then set that to performance mode. From there, you may have to relaunch your game before you set it, and all you got to do is simply set the meshes setting to low, which should appear once you're on performance mode. Now I should mention that you don't have to set the meshes to low as they do make your builds and such look a little bit weird, but I definitely see it as being worth it, kind of like the risk to reward given the FPS boost and input lag reduction it provides. This is definitely the simplest method, but also one of the most effective. The next simple step to improve your input delay in Chapter 3 is going to be to disable high resolution textures in Fortnite. What high resolution textures essentially does is it modifies the textures and edges of in-game objects to make it look extra smooth and fancy, but this pretty much does absolutely nothing to improve your gameplay and really just hogs up valuable FPS and makes your game run slower. So unless you're super keen about making your game look absolutely perfect, this setting is pretty much a no-brainer to turn off. In order to disable high resolution textures, all you've got to do is head to your Epic Games launcher, go to your library, click the three dots next to Fortnite, head to options, and then simply untick the high resolution texture setting. On top of reducing your input lag, this also does free up some space on your hard drive as well, so that's a little bit of an added bonus which might help even further if your PC is low on storage. Another quick tip to improve your input delay, and one that works for all platforms including PC, console, and mobile, is to adjust your cosmetic selection. If you don't know already, cosmetic items like skins, back blings, pickaxes, and even item wraps can have some notable impacts on your input delay and FPS. That's because certain ones require more stress on your device to render and display. As a general rule of thumb, items that have more animated effects and are overall more fancy tend to raise your input delay. A few examples of these items might include like the Spire Assassin skin, which has a super cool fire effect on the back of the head. The butterfly back bling is another interesting one, and pretty much any other item wrap or pickaxe that has similar properties with moving objects and animations. Obviously, this shouldn't stop you from using skins on cosmetics that you enjoy, but if you're really trying to squeeze out the absolute most out of your game, especially if you're doing something more serious like a tournament, it definitely might be worth using simpler skins and items to avoid that input lag. Moving on from that, my next tip to improve your input lag and overall performance is to adjust your video settings within Fortnite itself. Now, these settings do differ based on which device you're on, usually with PC being the most versatile, but there should be at least a few in here that apply to everyone. Starting from the top, you're always going to want to be on full screen to minimize any input delay, display, as windowed and windowed full screen do both increase your input lag. Obviously, your resolution is going to match your monitor's resolution, although you can reduce the monitor's resolution as well as the in-game Fortnite resolution. Or you can even try stretch resolution, as both of those options can potentially boost your FPS and thus reduce input lag. I do have some really good videos about stretch resolution on the channel, so you can feel free to check those out if you're interested. Moving on from that though, your 3D resolution is completely your choice, but you can see some FPS improvements if you decide to lower it. I think the lowest possible setting for that is 25%, and obviously you don't want to go all the way down to 25% because it just looks ridiculous. But if you do want to lower that a bit, it definitely can help. But really, that's kind of one of those things where it helps you if you can do it, but you also don't want to trade off like just making your game look horrible. It's all about balance, and it kind of depends on your preference. View distance, textures, and meshes do tend to perform best on near and low. Getting closer to the bottom, VSync should be off for just about everyone. Motion blur should definitely be off. Show FPS is completely your choice, makes no difference. Rendering mode is best on performance, as we've already established. Multi-threaded rendering is best turned on, and those should just about cover all of your in-game video settings. There are a few other video settings that I didn't cover, but those are pretty much all the ones that actually make a difference in your gameplay. The other ones are either completely your choice or make no difference. Getting into our last tip for this video though, this is a pretty simple one, and that's simply to run less background apps on your device while you're playing. One major cause for input lag and overall lag in Fortnite is when other apps run in the background and hog up your device's resources. A lot of people will play Fortnite and at the same time be doing something else like watching YouTube, listening to Spotify, or having Discord open. The problem here is that most of these apps hog up a fair amount of resources, and especially those apps that actively send and receive information to servers. Think like YouTube as an example. Those can actually cause your ping to increase, your FPS to drop, and your input delay to get worse. And keep in mind that's pretty much any app that uses the internet, so Spotify, Discord, YouTube, those all count. So if you're able to, try your best to minimize the amount of other apps that you use while you're playing Fortnite, and that should definitely help out quite a bit when it comes to input lag and various other issues. Another thing to note here, also in the realm of running less background apps, is that your computer does have a startup app setting, aka apps that start right when you turn on your PC and don't stop running unless you specifically end them. So even if you don't have obvious apps running at the forefront of your PC, you may have startup apps that simply run while you're playing and hog up resources. To check these apps, simply head to your taskbar and type startup apps, and from there you can pick and choose which apps to run right when your PC goes on, and each one is going to show its impact as well. So obviously if you have high impact apps that are running on startup, which you don't actually need, disabling them can help your performance a bunch, and all you got to do is uncheck them on this page. But with all that said guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's video on how to reduce input delay and overall lag in Fortnite Chapter 3. If you do implement all the methods that I've gone over, you should see a notable improvement in your in-game performance, and your game should definitely be running a lot smoother than usual. If this video helped you out, then be sure to drop a like on it, and consider subscribing as well if you want to see more content just like this in the future. As well as that, consider using code TECHO in the Fortnite item shop, as it's 100% free and it really does help me out a bunch. And finally guys, don't forget to check out Raid Shadow Legends, which is going to be linked near the top of the description, and collect your free reward by simply using my link or for scanning the QR code on screen. It's completely free to try out and it's an awesome game, so I definitely recommend you give it a shot. With that said though, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.